this week I've been seeing a lot about what we kind of talked about in previous episodes about finances, what financial structure you would date, things of that nature. But I want to take it to another place. Back in the day, it was the man takes care of the household, the women raise the kids, cook the dinner, keep the house clean, and the man was supposed to be the sole provider. Right. Mm-hmm. But in today's society, things have changed.
They have definitely changed.
Yeah. And I want to know what you guys think about, do you guys think that the man should be the sole provider in the household?
Sole provider. See, the thing is, for me, whenever we speak in absolutes,
Right.
there lies controversy.
There lies,
you know
We
what I'm
like
saying?
controversy, man.
So do I think the man should be the sole provider?
Sole provider.
I believe a man should be in the position to make sure that the situation can call for that.
Okay.
Like, a man should be in a position to where he can solely provide. In today's society, is that necessarily expected at this point? Right. I'm not sure. I got a saying, I supply it, she fry it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna bring the fish in the door,
right?
And she gonna cook it. Now I'm not saying she gotta cook. I ain't saying she always.
She's the better cook, right?
So I supply it, I fry it.
So you supply it and fry it.
Ouch. So, but no, I think I should be able to come in the door and be able to handle my household. Okay. And I'm not saying the stipulation should be her sole position should be frying it. Right. I enjoy her to fry it, but I also keep enough, I guess, I'm not going to say I keep enough leeway. I would say there's enough openness in my household for everybody to operate in their gifts freely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So here's a wrinkle to that though. So you say that right now you live in a wonderful house, you drive nice cars, your kids are provided with a certain type of lifestyle, and that's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But for most people in most people's households, if the man is the sole provider, that changes.
Of course.
Do you live the same type of life? Do you live in the same home? Do you drive the same cars?
Yeah.
Do your kids wear the same clothes?
Yeah.
Are y'all, remember the show Everybody Hates Chris?
Yeah.
Everybody remember that show, right?
Yeah.
So on that show, I use that as an example because he was the sole provider for that family, right?
Oh, yeah.
But do y'all remember how they was fighting over the big piece of chicken?
Yeah.
The boy got the big piece of chicken for his birthday.
So let me say this, Jay. So this is what I'll bring balance to that, though.
Okay.
For us to be where we are now, we've been through it, though.
Absolutely.
Like,
I get it.
Like, for her to even, she had to ride with me. You understand? She had to be a type of woman who supported, no matter what.
Right.
Because I've been down.
Right. We all, I think we all.
We done made life decisions at gas tanks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Real deal.
Do I pay this rent or do we eat?
Yeah, we done made life decisions. You know what I'm saying? So no, that's definitely a good point, man.
That's the perspective I'm thinking about. But go ahead, sis.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think in a relationship, I don't think it's a matter of the husband or the man being the sole provider. I think it's just who's in a better position to do what's necessary.
That's good.
I like that.
Because, there was a season, and my husband is the ultimate hustler, grinder. Right. Like I don't question whether or not things are going to happen.
Right.
But there was a season because of his background, you know what I'm saying, that I had to carry the family.
Right.
And so,
that's good.
Because of his past, he, was a felon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there were certain jobs that weren't available to felons.
Right.
And so for that reason, he had to work labor-ready jobs. And labor-ready jobs are just that. Right. You work when the labor is ready.
We worked a few together. So.
so for that, bills is coming.
Right.
You know
what
I'm saying?
Stop.
And we waiting on the labor to be ready, but I had my job, and my job was paying consistently every week. So I was the consistent income while he, you know what I'm saying, hustled and grind to do what was necessary, which was fine.
Yeah, right.
I didn't have a problem with it.
In that season, mine was more of the supplemental.
Right.
The supplemental income.
But that to me, that was fine. You know what I'm saying? To me, that was, we're working as a partnership. I think
the partnership.
And when you're thinking about the partnership, if the partnership if you're going to assign like you're responsible for but in a partnership, I think it just what do we talk about, the balancing act?
You know,
harmony.
Harmony aspect. I would add to that. I had made a decision to get money legally,
right?
Which is why it had to go to it being primarily her, because now it became for me a moral thing. I'm like, I'm not that guy no more.
Right.
You know growing up, I got kids. I'm not going to play myself off these streets. Yeah,
absolutely. That's real.
With that's why it got to the point where it's like, you know, and it was hard.
Let me ask this, because there's an interesting undertone in that I just want to kind of just ask about. Mm-hmm. Did you feel like you had to even qualify why she became the more consistent provider in the household?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I wasn't raised that way.
Right.
I grew up around men who are providers for real. I grew up around men, Jay's dad was never home because he would literally come home and his sleep would be a break.
Right.
Nap. And then get a nap. Get back up.
And
get it again.
Grinding.
Like straight up.
Absolutely.
But Mama Sharon was always able to take us to the movies. She was always able to, you know what I'm saying? And she worked.
Well, she worked. In certain periods she did and she didn't.
Right.
But I think during that period when my dad was working multiple jobs, she wasn't working.
Right.
He had allowed her to quit her job.
Right.
She was working at Georgia State. This was before Georgia State became Georgia State.
Right.
And she was working in the alumni department and it just became stressful.
Right.
So, to capitalize on what he was saying, that's a major point for me.
That's how it was raised.
Because my dad, although he worked those 3 jobs and he made a way for us, there was a lot he missed.
Yeah. Same with my dad.
There was a lot that was missed because he was working 3 jobs. And, the time that he did get a chance to spend with us, I know he was tired.
Yeah.
I know he needed, we left him alone.
Yeah.
Like, the house had to be quiet, remember? Like, we had, hey, y'all be quiet, the Lord is sleeping. And we had to respect that.
Yeah.
That's why we stayed outside.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dad could rest when he was home because we understood that he worked hard.
Yeah.
But the other side to that is, I can remember him only being at so many football games.
Right.
Or being around for certain things because, not that he didn't want to be there, he just didn't have the time. But when my mother did start working, and he was able to work one job and one job only, our whole dynamic in life changed. You get what I'm saying? We was able to move into a better neighborhood. We was able to, provide different. My dad didn't have to drive the old Mustang no more. And, when Mama, it was one of them things where Mama got the good car, Dad took the beat.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now both of them can drive a decent car.
Yeah.
Life changed. So do you sacrifice the sole providership for way of life?
I think there was a lot of sacrifice in the beginning. I think
that's it.
I think when people come in, especially like with the whole social media thing, when people come into our lives now, they see the pinnacle.
Absolutely.
They see where we are now, but not hear the stories of like what we're discussing
where we started
now.
from.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we was on ABT, we slept in hotels.
With the kids.
We was in the house and the kids thought we was having a campfire, but the power was out.
Yeah.
We got candles all over the place. Those are real stories. So it's part of that mountain that you're climbing, trying to get to the top. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I'm just using that metaphorically, but that's what it is.
But so then I throw a question in there. When we had our all girls conversation, one of the things we were talking about is if you get a grown man at this point in life, not like the stories you're talking about, we've all grown up together. You know what I'm saying? So we met each other at younger ages where we can build and stuff like that. But if you were to meet a man right now,
you know what I'm
saying? Like, am I as a woman or as a man, would you expect to take on the responsibility or the role to be the sole provider? Or are you saying, I'm coming into a partnership, so I'm bringing a certain aspect and I expect my woman to bring a certain aspect? You know what I'm saying?
It's a preference. I think it definitely depends on probably the how the man was raised or how the woman was raised as well. Just what she expects or what he expects. I think it's mindset too. You know what I mean? Because I know, like for him, he will be the sole provider. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like whatever I make and come in is like, oh, cool, that's extra. We can go kick it with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like in his mindset, it's like, I take care of this, period. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I really do think it's like a mindset of, I guess, what you expect and how you, and even for the woman, what she, how she was raised and what she expects, as well. But
hey, so you pay the cost to be the boss, don't you?
What?
Cheers.
But hold on, B just tapped into a whole other side of things.
Pay the cost.
Hold on.
No matter what's going on, no matter how you feel, you got to pay that cost because as you get older, I mean, we just went through it. Prom, graduation, vacations, school clothes, senior dude.
He looking at me like, babe, the bills have been excessively over.
Yeah, because I know the temperature of my bills. So I'm like, wait a minute. For the past 3 cycles, it seems to be, that's because, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Listen,
there was
we're all in the same boat with that.
For real.
This has been a rough 3 to 4 months.
We said a story.
Oh my God.
Like, okay, wait.
What is happening here?
We were doing all right. And then
hey, my whole thing is
something has tanked.
we're going to be able to do Cinco de Mayo, right?
Hey, listen, man.
We can't do Cinco de Mayo.
2 entrees and a dessert.
Hey, look, we cooking every day. It's like, hey, we ain't going out to eat.
Look, you got some food in the fridge.
Hey,
Hey,
you want to make some spaghetti?
I told Raylan, make your own Chick-fil-A. Yesterday, Chick-fil-A. I said, listen, there's chicken patties in there and fries. Make your own Chick-fil-A.
Hey, we bought the groceries. How many times do you buy groceries and don't eat?
We were king and queen of that. Yes. So, we understand the squeeze, but you got to also realize that the price is going up on everything. And this is the part that I think people don't tend to understand when it comes to, especially social media. A lot of y'all who talking about sole providership don't pay bills.
Right.
Like, y'all don't pay bills.
All
Y'all
of
don't
them.
understand.
Right.
Like, you not know what it takes to run a household in today's society.
Yeah, right.
I mean, even as a single person, as a single person, we've seen single adults like really struggling to live. I have my nephew. He's like trying to figure out. He's been given a deadline. My niece given a deadline.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how the freak you're going to make this happen when rent is like $1,900. I don't know. You better get a roommate.
But here's the thing. That's the
we
thing.
was moving around.
Get a roommate.
Those things were, I mean, of course, I guess from our perspective, looking at it now financially, we're like, what would I do as a single person? But thinking it back, when we were stepping into, what I'm saying, life and stuff, I was looking at $1,250, you know what I'm saying? Like, whoo.
That's a lot.
Who's going to pay that?
You were living in a luxury apartment at $1,250. That was luxury.
Yeah,
like, that was gated community luxury.
Yes, gated community.
She wouldn't take no less at the same time. She told me. Listen, she told me. She told me. She said, my wife said to me, I have a standard.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now that's another thing. As a man,
whole another thing.
Can you accept that standard?
You can't go no less than what her father provided.
Right. So here's
what she provided for herself.
Exactly.
On her is what she provided for herself.
For herself. Right. She got it out of the mud. Right. She deserves to. And you're not going to pick or marry a person that can't assist you with that, or at least partner you with that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the other side of
match my come up.
Sole providership. So, how many times have you heard the story of the woman who relies solely on their husband to provide, but they're miserable?
Oh yeah.
Because he fathering children outside the house. I pay the bills. I pay the cost to be the boss. So you got to sit here and take it.
What's that movie? Fences,
right.
Oh,
Man had what? He had a whole nother family?
Sponsorship.
Yeah.
That is a real deal type situation. So a lot of the women, and this is me just going off of things that I've seen and heard, even on top. I think Ayana Van Zant had did an episode, one of her early episodes, about a family that was just like that. The father was a tyrant, but he was the sole provider. So the mother didn't have to work.
Respect me, it don't matter. I'm paying the bills.
He don't even know his children. He never participated in anything. He never had to do anything. He was never had to be responsible for anything except for paying the bills.
Yeah, it goes back to how he was raised too, though.
I agree.
So there's different perspectives of even the sole provider and the respect aspect and the, just the relational aspect too. You know what I mean?
But it's even worse when you coming in expecting someone to do that for you and you didn't help him get to where or her get to where they are in life. Right. So we all of us have gotten it out the mud together.
Right.
As couples. Like Constance just said, hey, at one point I was the sole provider. Absolutely. There was at one point that Amy wasn't working. And I had to, and I just found out from her today that during that time she was miserable. And I'm like, for real?
Why though?
I was miserable because I got comments. Like Jason wasn't very nice during that time.
Oh, okay.
Well, hold on.
Talk about it.
Hold on.
No, hold on. I want to. I mean, she's speaking on it. So let's hear her.
Speak, but I want to. So
let's hear her without. Let's hear it without the. Let's hear it.
It was pregnancy. I moved here. I moved to Georgia. To get married and all that stuff. We got married. I was pregnant when we got married. I was pregnant the year after that. I already had a child. And so I wasn't working at the time, and I got comments from his family. I got comments from him.
Wow.
I got comments from my family not working and not helping out. And I was helping out as much as I could, but at the same time, I was new to here. I had a lot going on. I was a lot going on, but I will say that's why when I started working, I just went hard.
You just went.
I went hard to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not a lay down type of woman.
I'm not.
Value.
I bring value to this, right?
Yeah.
Because before I moved here, I had my own apartment and everything.
Yeah.
Like I had my own apartment, my own car. I had a job. I was okay.
Yeah.
I could have, been in Indianapolis doing my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I moved here for him, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't all bad, but during that time, so that's why I would never allow anybody to be the sole provider.
Yeah.
I just don't want,
I don't
want
it
that.
takes away from your value or your,
it doesn't take away from it, but I don't want nobody telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear.
So as a man,
that's the bottom line.
As a man, do you feel like, answer honestly, as a man, do you feel like if you are providing everything, do you feel like you can dictate all of the things in the household? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like most men do, but I'm just going to speak for myself.
Well, hold on. Speak from don't speak from the perspective of where you are today.
Okay.
Speak from the perspective of a younger man. Think about who you were back then, because that's what I'm having to think about today.
Well, absolutely, then.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's the thing, though.
If I'm paying everything,
but see, that's the thing.
Back in the day.
So here's the thing.
Make the distinction. Be clear. Like at this age, I thought so because of X, Y, and Z. So, and at what point did you shift your thinking? If you shifted your thinking.
At this age, at 42, how old am I?
41.
At 41 years old.
All these years.
That's crazy. After 38, 39, you stop keeping track.
Yeah,
but anyway, at 40, as a 41-year-old man, I would say no, because I understand equality. I understand, you have just as much passion and as I have as far as being a man. You have just as much passion and pride and purpose as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So when you try to overshadow that, it's not going to be harmonious for anybody
at all. It's going to be straight turbulence,
right? So, but back then, younger Anthony, heck yeah, I pay everything. Where my food at? Why the food ain't cooked?
Yeah,
I don't know,
and
man.
Why
See, the thing is, for me, I don't know. For me, it's just different. Even when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? I guess because I seen certain things and I came up a certain way, and I seen I've seen women feel less than.
Right.
So I was always just very conscious of making sure
You're more mindful.
my woman never felt less than. But I also was very conscious of making sure my woman didn't feel unprovided for.
Right.
So those two worlds, I guess, became my perfect storm because I've always been very open to, okay, if you bringing home some bacon, we gonna eat together.
Right.
If I'm bringing home the bacon, we gonna eat together. If I never felt tyrannical, you know what I'm saying? That's just me, though. I've never felt like a tyrant. I've never felt like because I wear the crown, heavy is the head. If I wear a crown, I got a queen to wear a crown that's just as big as mine.
Right.
Period. You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of where we at. Say again.
Where you miss it, she catches
all day, bro.
Yeah.
All day.
That's how I thrive.
All
that's
day.
How we thrive.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's today. Me and Amy most definitely work better today than we did back then. But you got to realize, and for me, it's a little different because I did come from a household at one point where my dad was the sole provider.
Yeah.
So I saw my mom, even if she wasn't the one that was cleaning, she was making sure the house was clean.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even though, my dad never came home to nothing being cooked.
It was always
He's always food for him to eat, and she was going to make that plate, and she was going to make sure that he was comfortable. She was going to make sure that the kids were silent and put to bed or whatever needed to happen.
Home front was straight.
It was straight. So when he walked in, he could poke his chest out and say, "Hey, I feel like a king."
Yeah.
So when I was put in that position, I was like in awe because, again, I had never been with a pregnant woman before. I didn't know what that felt like. I didn't know what she was going through. So I didn't understand that, she was too tired to clean up.
Yeah.
Or she was.
And it wasn't. And I think I'm not going to lie, a lot of it was probably retaliation. That was my passive aggressive way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
From growing up.
Got you.
Right.
That was just my passive aggressive way of like, all right, you said something last night that I didn't like.
I'm not cleaning today.
I'm not doing nothing.
I'm not cooking for you today.
I'll never forget. I got a story.
She was petty.
Hey, she was very petty.
Wow.
I'll never forget, man.
Yes.
I probably worked about 10, 12 hours. And I worked at the airport back then.
Okay.
I came home and I went in the kitchen and she cooked. And there was some leg quarters that were based in some type of teriyaki that she had bought from somewhere. I don't know where this came from.
Right.
When I picked up the leg quarter, it wouldn't even come off of the pan. I'll never forget this, boy. I was exhausted.
Jay.
I didn't say nothing.
I grew up with that's how that's supposed to be.
Right.
It
was pasted to the pan. Like
to the bacon bread.
That sounds like some good sauce, dog.
Man, I got a fork. I'm trying to dip.
She broiled it.
Hey, man, what she did was we had to throw the whole pan away because it was that bad.
Oh man!
But so I went in the living room, picked up the phone, called Pizza Hut. It might have been my last $11 I had.
Yeah.
I was going to eat. So I called, I ordered a pizza. Pizza Hut came. She comes out the back room, waddled out the back room. So you didn't eat what I cooked? I just looked at her. I said, did you eat it? She didn't touch a piece of it.
I'm going to come to you and say you ain't eat what I cooked.
I said, did you eat it? No. I see you ordered a pizza. I said, I did.
I did.
Next thing you know, she sat her happy behind right next to me and ate
that
Come
right.
on.
So I'm like, I was that moment. That's what I'm calling Dad. Like, hey man, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to deal with this. But I came to understand.
He don't know I was calling my grandmother.
No. She just called. She just called. She left. Like she literally got on a plane and went home.
I did.
Oh wow.
And was gone for weeks. And I'm like,
Jay,
so
gone
you're
for
not
weeks.
coming back?
Oh, we got real.
And I'm sitting here like,
Yes. Because Jason being the sole provider at that age,
yeah, it was a lot of
it
power.
went to his head.
It did. It was a lot of power.
It went to his head, and
Too much power too quick.
Too much power too quick.
And it just, we were a whirlwind of
relationship.
a relationship
Absolutely.
anyway.
Emotions and everything.
Oh my goodness! I was like, but that taught me.
Yeah.
I'm good.
It taught us.
I'm good on the sole provider.
Right.
I don't want nobody sole provider. I provide. I'll bring something to the table. You bring something to the table. We build this thing together. And if it fall apart, apart, it fall apart together. It's not on just one person.
Right.
It's not solely on him. It's not solely on me. We literally live our lives, together, I don't even say 50-50, but like sometimes I'm 80.
That's it.
Yeah. And sometimes he's 80.
Absolutely.
That's it right there.
Sometimes, but
we balance each other out. It's a life of balance.
But I'm glad it's like that because I don't think I would be happy.
Right.
And because it would be more in my head though.
Yeah.
It's not anything that anybody would say to me or anything. It would be in my head.
Right.
Because I know if I'm doing everything, I know me. I know my personality.
Right.
My personality is like, oh, go sit in the corner.
I think that's how we got here.
I'm doing this.
I think that's how we got here, though. As far as, you got all my ladies that's independent. That whole movement came from women getting tired of being
feeling like that. Yeah.
Or feeling like that. Feeling like, oh no. So because you pay everything, I got to do what you tell me to do.
Yeah, because it seemed like it was breeding incompetence.
Yeah.
Or that you're, I don't know, that you're just not good enough to get out there or to walk in your gift or your passion or whatever it is that you're good at. Anything like that, because you do and the other aspect of the sole providership, you do lay down your as the woman or vice versa, you do lay down what you do, what you can come provide or what you can't, do like
what you bring to the
it
table.
just it is what it is. You lay it down at that moment. So there are things that you may experience in your mind of just like, dang, I mean. Okay, so I can't, I am, okay, wait, I do have a degree. In biology. I could go get a real job.
Right.
I'm a whole chemist.
I'm actually a chemist and I can really work. But there are times where you're like, wait, you know what I mean? Just because it's that you are laying a lot down to do that, to be home, to raise your children, to, you know what I mean? And of course you want to equate. Well, you can't really equate just the value of the mom being in the home and being able to raise your children.
Very valuable.
They call you because they like, I'm getting a text right now, Mom, I need you to come get me. You know
it's
what I mean?
Job.
Like that type of, or Mom, I left my book bag at the, you know what I mean? Or, Mom, I left and being able to be like, oh, let me go bring this to her, and the value that's in that. It's not what is it? Equatable? Is that a word? Mm-hmm. Equitable? Mm-hmm.
Equitable.
Whatever the word is. Mm-hmm. It's not comparable. You know what I mean? To the aspect of what you lay down. Especially if you went to college and you've got a degree, and you know what I mean. You are sacrificing a lot of yourself in a family dynamic and the things that you guys discuss on who's going to handle what or what's, that's a lot to toil around in your mind of what does this mean? Is this good enough? Is this valued? Because sometimes a society will not highlight those things that are, valuable. It might just be your status, how much money you make, stuff like that. When it's like really having presentable children that enter into the world as adults, functioning adults.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's more valuable, than your chemist status, you know what I mean, in a lab. You know what I mean? If I just looked at myself personally.
We were Constance and I was having every now and then, we do Christian advisement, but every now and then a married couple will come through our desk. So there's one particular couple was, they've been married quite some time, smaller children. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they brought up was, the husband was very, he was the provider.
Yeah.
The sole provider to an extent because he made more money than she made, right? And then the jobs that she had were good jobs, but not as much as what he brought to the table. So he took care of all of the bills and different things like that. But they had a hard problem and they couldn't see why they were always having conflict. And as we begin to unpack with them, because sometimes all it takes is somebody outside of your situation to be able to give a different perspective so that you can have a different view or form a different view out of that. So what we ended up seeing was that they were going at these problems and she was constantly getting offended. And as we unpacked it, it's because she felt lesser. Mm-hmm. She felt like she didn't bring as much to the table, and she had so much more to bring to the table. Mm-hmm. But because he was so...
he was the boss. He was the owner of the company. He initiated the company, and it's like, this is your place that I want you to play and this is your contribution to our family type of thing. But it's like, I slick could run this whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I could hire the workers.
And she's very intelligent.
I could replace you, really. And probably take this company
I
to
see
a
things
whole
that you
other level.
do wrong, and I don't want to say anything because when I do, it's well, what do you know? I do this. That type of deal.
Ego,
So
little ego.
What ended up happening was we gave him a simple dose of medicine. Hey, it's not y'all in this problem. It's not that you guys are fighting this problem. It's you and him, and then there's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's you and him.
Us against
it's us against this issue.
That's good.
But when you guys have this differentiating thing that seems to be coming in by way of the finances, listen, you got to own, hey, what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours.
There it is.
And mean that.
There it is.
Right.
Because sometimes it's easy for that to come out your mouth. But when that deposit hit, and it's like, oh no, I spent this.
Right.
Whoa,
you
did
calculate.
my account. So me and Constance, we have a joint account,
Right.
and we have separate accounts, right? The joint account is what we usually pay bills out of and different things like that. But she has access to it. I have access to it. Constance got access to my stuff too. But it's known, hey, that's my stuff. So
See,
if
we're the
you
exact
need
opposite.
it, so when you need it, just let me know.
Let me holler at me.
Let's communicate, because early on we had to realize I'm probably better with the bills than she is.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And as when we were growing up together, I didn't want that responsibility. It's like, who wants that responsibility?
Right.
So her thing was, I'm gonna pay. Okay, if the power bill is $600, I'm gonna pay it $250, and I'm gonna pay it the $650.
Right.
And I'd rather my bills be paid and I'm broke, and I could go hustle up something, than to have this thing, because when you don't pay it all the way, it accrues.
Yeah, the balloons. Yeah.
It inflates.
And late fees.
And we can't afford a little bit, not even a piece of bit of inflation.
So he would rather be broke until the next paycheck.
Absolutely.
I would rather try to piece the bill.
Yeah, she gonna flip it.
Bills are
Make it
paid.
parlay.
But then, just in case because this is the thing. Again, like in that season of our lives, I was home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I've got to face the kids when they ask for money to go to the book fair. Yeah. I've got to face the kids when they're, with their
that's a
friends
real thing.
and asking to go to the store and stuff like that. So it's okay for you to be like,
with 4 kids.
It's okay to say, pay all the bills. I want my bills paid. Our bills need to be paid. I'd rather be broke and have the bills paid. That's easy for you to say because you're not the one that look at their faces and have to give an explanation to these kids. Exactly.
So different perspective.
Not just the perspective,
and the way I was raised.
It was ignorance involved.
And the way I was raised, because I'm the baby of my family, and as a baby of my family, there are several things that I ain't really start cooking for real until I was 18. I learned how to fry chicken at 18. Right. That's just it. I had 3 other sisters.
But look at you now.
Getting to it.
I'm definitely learning.
Well, I most definitely would like to embark on that journey, because I was around the 18 journey, and that wasn't just.
You said what you say?
I was around that journey.
Yeah, he tasted the 18-year-old food.
He's
like, oh man, I'm like, bro, I'm gonna pray for you, bro.
I said, hey man, I was thinking deviled eggs supposed to be crunchy, bro.
So hold on. So deviled eggs has always been an issue for Constance. Can I say it, Constance? Can I say it? Hey, she made deviled eggs. This is back in the day, y'all. This was years ago.
I'm so happy.
She ain't put the paprika on there. She put the cayenne pepper on the deviled.
Everybody was biting into it like, God dang.
Hey, all these eggs hot.
Woo, they hot.
She said, yo, anything red, she was putting on there.
I just wanted it to look
That
like
was an expectation that nobody expected.
Yo, it was crazy. It was fun. It was
Catch
fun.
me outside now.
I'm coming through one of these days and see what's going on. But no, that's a blessing though. That's a wonderful thing.
I will say that was the difference in how I approached it. And so, you know, I just looked at the bills differently because I did want to have a little reason. We already wasn't making no money. So it was like
$20,000 a piece.
A piece with $170,000 house, 4 kids, a car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lot.
One car.
That's what I said, a car. In the early 2000s, that's like, how are you, 2013, 20...
How are you doing
that? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the kids are here like, Mom, can I... This bookstore tomorrow, can I... You know what I mean?
And what we gonna tell them? No?
Right.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna sell some CDs. I'm gonna sell blood.
It was so he was grinding and I just was sneaking and paying partial parts of the bills.
and it almost cost us our marriage.
Yes, because stuff started getting cut off. And he's like, babe, I thought we paid the water bill.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm giving you money.
I paid a portion of the water.
So what's happening?
Actually, I finagled.
And at that time, we was getting food stamps.
They said they wasn't going
to the daycare. What you call it?
TAF or
caps.
Caps.
We was getting caps. So we had help, but it's like, nigga.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You still had the mortgage, the power. That was like $600.
Too many
bills. It's just too many bills and not enough money.
And that's crazy.
Tell me what else we need, and I'll go get that.
But see,
and I didn't want to add pressure. I'm sorry, Jay. But I didn't want to add pressure. So it's like he already out there grinding.
It wasn't no pressure.
And you don't want him to slip back into that old life either.
And I'm just like, it's my responsibility. I'm the bill payer, so it's my responsibility to make it work.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's how I looked at it. And we had to come into an agreement. And I did correct the behavior. It is best because the late bill payment does affect.
It balloons.
You know what I'm saying? It does affect the later part.
My dad told me, he said, I was calling him venting. He said,
why don't you do the bill?
Why you don't pay the bill?
Just take over.
You have such a colorful a way of describing how she does it. You do it.
You have a colorful way of describing it.
I'm like,
easy.
He's like, yeah, that seems simple enough to me. You seem to have it all together.
Wisdom.
You do it. I was like,
wow.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the slick fear is I don't feel that I feel like I'll mess it up. Right. And it's better if she does it so I can just blame her.
But it's also
that's real.
Wow. A lot of us also have these gender roles in our minds where we feel like that's just what the woman's supposed to do. And I think that's the thing about today's society, that there's a difference between being successful as a couple or a married couple versus being unsuccessful. You see so many single people out here because they're looking for things that are not realistic. Yeah. The whole fantasy, sole provider,
social media,
all this social media has glamorized. They're looking at a 1%. They're looking at the 1% of the world and what they do for their families. They're looking at the rappers. They're looking at the billionaires. They're looking at the millionaires. They're looking at these business owners. They're looking at all of these people that are probably 1% of America, and they think that they're supposed to have that. So they turn down the other 99% of the guys or girls that are capable of matching your energy and providing a life that can help you become successful. You can be happy.
Yeah.
But we turn it down because we're reaching for something that doesn't exist.
Right.
That 1% that you don't know about, a lot of them not even happy. They not happy. And I'm not saying all of them.
Yeah.
But there's a large portion of people with a lot of money that are miserable.
Right. Oh yeah.
And I definitely learned to appreciate my perspective, our perspective of where we are, because we have access and we have connections to people who are in a larger tax bracket.
Right.
And they admire the moments we get to spend with our kids and the moments where we get to do things that they aren't necessarily able to do where they are in their life right now. So it's just like kind of like appreciate where you are type of thing. And I think that's where personally me, I have learned to just really appreciate our building. You know what I'm saying? We're in a great space, but as we were, even building up to this point, it's just like, I appreciate where I'm at. Like, I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not trying to reach. I'm not I'm not depreciating where we are because I'm so focused on where you're at.
It was a major
Yeah.
It was a major thing for us when we purchased the home that we're in now, because essentially it's smaller than where we were.
Absolutely.
So I had to make a real tough decision to, okay, we're going from 7 bedrooms to 5?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to unpack, why is that even a thing for me?
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Because one of those where even the thing about extra bedrooms is people come to stay in them.
It gives people access to you.
I ain't with that. So my kids come and they say, man, people thought we were like millionaires. It's like, man, you got 3 levels. It's a upstairs, then a upstairs again. And you got all these bedrooms. And that was the kids' perspective. But for me, it was like, it was a blessing because we went from the 4-bedroom home
that we were about to lose.
It was a cancer to us.
Right.
We fought like hell to try and keep it.
Real.
And just for God to bless us with the 7-bedroom home. So that went from, okay, now this is good, but it was like lease with a
lease purchase.
Lease with the option to buy.
Right.
So with the option to buy, you got that option, but it's still treated like a lease.
Absolutely.
So each year it increases.
Yeah.
So I think it got up to, I think when we first started, it was like at 14, and we stayed there how long?
5 years.
5 years. So by the time we left, it was at like it was about 2,100.
We like, ain't no way we paying for this, and we.
Now, but you know what? But now, guys, in today's society,
2,100 sounds
amazing.
Right. It's wonderful.
For 7 bedrooms.
2,100. That was just. That was just what, 4 years ago?
Yeah, that's crazy how the economy is.
That was pre-COVID.
Yeah,
was pre-COVID.
It was pre-COVID, and we were just like, why are we paying over $2,000 for something we don't own? And at the time, we didn't want to buy it because the area did not necessarily have everything that we wanted. So it was a beautiful. I'm like, if I could pick this house up
And take it down.
and move it here,
and take it to the area that I want, you know what I'm saying? We would be good, but we didn't want to buy it. So we're like, let's just
and we
look
did it all
for
on faith.
Yeah, let's look for something we want, that we appreciate, that we're not hurting for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That
something
that
we can live in and be comfortable. We can live in, and after everything's paid, we still good, and we ain't got to go back to, 1777.
Paying portions of the bill.
Right. Check to check. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
also, in home ownership, this is the beautiful part about it. You ain't got to worry about it going from $1,400 to $2,100.
Yeah.
If it does fluctuate, it's because of taxes. And that means your property value is going up.
Right.
So that's a wonderful thing.
it's the trade.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
I think Constance said something that, I mean, it really strikes a chord with me, man. It's just making sure that we but we give appreciation to ourselves for where we are, where we've come from, who we are, and what we bring to the table.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, my brother.
Hey, man. B swear he don't do this. But when he talk, he be throwing up gang signs. He say
I always do a C when I'm talking.
Have you noticed that? He does this.
So he disrupted my point. He disrupted my point.
It's not a C.
What is it?
So anyway, guys, I'm just saying, man, listen, just appreciate who you are, what you bring to the table.
Yeah,
appreciate your spouse and what your spouse brings to the table, man. Don't put so much pressure on yourself and on your spouse. Work together to accomplish what you need, man.
Unspoken pressure.
Yeah, unspoken.
As men, we can go through pressure, and because we're men, it doesn't come off as pressure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because
what you mean?
If I'm flustered by the pressure, my whole family gets flustered by it. So we call each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Vent a little bit.
Try to vent it out. Go to God, go to your parents, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
man.
just talk, or you do what you could do, but it's like there's a lot of men out there that suffer in silence because they don't have a good relationship with their parents. They don't have a good relationship.
Yeah.
They don't have brothers that they can trust.
That's right.
So we got something golden here. But to the guy that's out there, man, and you're suffering in silence, or you're out there and you got this unspoken pressure that you're going through, still trying to make it happen for your family, man, we praying for you. We here, but don't try to keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with having a 4-bedroom home.
And even to add to that,
that's a beautiful
thing. To add to what you're saying right then, if you're a man and you suffering in silence for real, we here, but reach out to us, man.
Oh, most definitely.
And that's on both sides.
Most
if you're a female, if you're a male, if you going through something, man, we here for real. When we say family by choice, we really mean family. So reach out if you need.
Yeah.
But to capitalize on what you're saying, because there's also the single guy that is suffering because he feels like he has to adapt to the standards that social media or society has set as you got to be the sole provider. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
You got to set your life up according to how you need it to be. If that woman is requiring something of you that is not something that's realistic, walk away.
Yeah, man.
Stop putting yourself in debt and using credit cards and paying her bills and your bills too, and she's sitting around really laughing at you and talking behind your back like, girl, I got this man doing it. Right. It happens every single day.
It does.
Like, guys, please be realistic about your life. Understand that you don't have to fall prey to social media. Social media is a trap. And we listen to these people talking, and most of them, and in the world that I live in and the job that I do for a living, I see a lot of these same social media people, and they living in poverty.
Right.
They got a room in their house that is set up. That's the best looking thing you walk in. It look wonderful. But then you look at the rest of the house and you like, who blew this up?
Oh man!
And that's a representation of how they feel inwardly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man.
Wow.
You know
Straight chaos.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a representation. I want to say this. When we talk like this, you know who gets really scared?
Who that?
Our kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're getting closer to having to start that journey.
Yeah.
So to the teenagers or the
young
young
adults.
who are out there that's getting ready to leave, listen, you see where we are now, but understand, if there's no movement,
there's no progress.
there's no progress. Yeah. Start your walk.
Got to.
The scariest thing about when you hear the story about Peter walking on water, do you understand the type of mentality and the type of emotion that had to be going through him to even step outside of the boat and defy the laws of gravity, defy the laws of
physics,
sense and physics, just to and put trust in Jesus to just step out the boat?
Absolutely.
Not, let alone walking on
Right.
Just getting out of the boat.
It's a whole storm. I'm trying to tuck myself in this boat.
A lot.
Yeah.
You know, if you go skydiving, the scariest thing is jumping out of the freaking plane.
Yeah.
I would advise you to jump. You have people around you who can don't just be one-sided with your views. I'm getting ready to teach on that this coming Sunday. Seek different perspectives to form your view. If all you move on is what you know, then all you'll do is what you know.
Which is limited.
Exposure.
It's limited to what you've been exposed to. So if you already hadn't been exposed to anything by way of paying bills, by way of being in a relationship with somebody and understanding that she's just as much a person as you, her emotions match your emotions, her feelings match your feelings, her drive and purpose match yours. If you hadn't been exposed to those things, once you get out there, it's going to be rocky. But those rocks will teach you.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Those rocks, those bumps in the roads, those hurdles, they will teach you. Just like it taught me, just like it taught Jay, just like it taught B. So,
real
to the
deal.
young adults that's getting ready to step out and, you know, your parents then gave you a date, you're going to be all right, man. Trust God.
You're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be all right.
And I would say, just to add to that, it's probably more detrimental for the young adult to not jump than it is to jump.
Wow.
So just, take that just
What you
into
mean
your
when you say
mindset.
that?
because when you don't get the opportunity to see what you're made of,
you gotta bump your head.
You have to step out there to see what's in you, how your fears, your flaws,
test your resilience,
all of that, all the things even that you were raised and your parents put in you, and things like that. Like if you don't ever get that opportunity to actually jump and step out and see who you made of, I just think it's more detrimental for you to stay where you are and never know.
It's like you box yourself in.
Yeah, because you gotta know that. You gotta know. You gotta, especially in that area, because it's always call it the gray area, because you feel like you're an adult, you know what I mean? And because your maturity, your hormonal, you know what I'm saying? All the things point to I'm an adult.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But then you're in the house with your parents or whoever else is raising you, and you are treated like a child. You know what I'm saying? You got a curfew. You know what I'm saying? You're limited in your bill paying, and so you're not getting the fullness, of being an adult.
Of that independence.
So it's messing your mind up. Is what it is. That's why I call it the gray area, because your mind is like, but wait, I'm an adult, but I don't feel like an adult.
Right.
But so you're battling that.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment that you step out into that world, now you got the real deal of who you are, and you still got the village that's there. Like I tell my niece, my son, like all the time, I'm like, look, get out there and get it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like you have the support that if you miss it, or you like you can reset,
and we're here.
You know what I mean? Like
we're here to help you.
You gotta come back. Like okay, all right, let's reset.
Yeah. Right.
What's next? You know,
you will not be homeless.
You won't be homeless. You won't be hungry.
But there are those who feel like they don't have anybody, and to that I say, again, I still believe that the failure to launch is still an injustice.
Right.
Because then you're not even giving God an opportunity to prove himself.
Right.
That's good.
To show you that, you know what I'm saying, I'm here for you. Even though you don't feel like in this world you don't have anybody that you can depend on.
You're never alone.
Yeah, you that's when you gotta trust. You gotta trust. You know what? God loves me, and He's going to help me figure this thing out.
Man. Listen, guys, a lot of great points was made in this episode, man. I think it's super important for us just to realize again that no matter what your view is as far as spousal support or sole provider, just recognizing, man, that everybody has something valuable to bring to the table.
Absolutely.
Don't downplay what someone else brings to the table. Thank you. I appreciate you. And push together. You know what I'm saying? Man. So listen, it's been another great episode of Family by Choice, man. We want to invite you guys to definitely be a part of this family. Follow us on all social media platforms. Listen to us wherever podcasts can be heard.
Peace.
Peace.